Hello, it's Ruby and welcome back to another of these really quick study with me's. So you know the drill, of course I'm still going through my essays and annotating printed drafts of them just to make it neater and make sure everything's coherent. I also like to make a note of anything which I maybe still need to research or which isn't substantiated, because sometimes as you're reading it you realise you've written something which maybe you should cite your source for. I think it's easy when you've been researching something for a really long time to feel like it's common knowledge when maybe it's not, and it would be good to provide a follow-up. This morning I was working on the critical essay for my children's literature module. And now we're on to doing some dissertation work. So I was going through chapter 2 today and I was using my old liners to colour code the script. So purple for phrasing where it didn't sound quite right and I wanted to go back to it, and then pink for bits where I thought I might need a little bit extra research or to cite something extra. And I'm pretty sure I added a third colour blue for anything I maybe wanted to change the placement of and put a bit earlier in the essay or a bit later. If you're wondering, the reason I'm writing sentences next to the script, that's for ideas of how I could actually rephrase the sentence. So as I'm reading it, I will just jot down possibilities for rephrasing. And I have my laptop up next to me so I can make tiny changes as I'm going along. And then I was feeling a bit foggy-headed, so I went outside for a walk, which is my favourite kind of study break, and it's bluebell season at the moment, which I love. Bluebells are some of my favourite flowers, if not my favourite flower actually. I just love how they're only around for a very short period. The worst bit about editing essays is having to cut out bits that you really like and you spent loads of time researching, and I've got to cut out this paragraph which I spent ages researching and which I think is really interesting, but it just isn't really relevant to my argument. I was thinking about like the dynamic between the active artist and the passive muse, but actually how that dynamic is complicated. The classical muse in Greek mythology made use of the human agent as a passive medium for the expression of art. And yet later in Victorian and Romantic art we see the artist coming through as the active agent who is kind of responsible for the art. There were so many debates in the Victorian period where muses wanted credit for being the muse and wanted like a shared income, etc., and the artists were really against that, which kind of goes against that Greek understanding of musedom. So the artist might be typically seen as active and the muse passive, but Straub's study of Dante's Beatrice points out that it is Beatrice's muse who became a visual icon and woman of culture, not Dante. And this dynamic prevails in Carol, where he narrates but also visually fades into the background next to the child muse, which is really interesting, I think, but I've got to cut it. So admittedly here I did end up watching a few YouTube videos. I think I was just watching some study vlogs here on YouTube for an extra boost of motivation. I honestly watch them all the time. At the moment I'm really loving Love Nika's videos, they're very good. And then I did a little bit more work on chapter 2 of my dissertation, and then I did a little bit more work, I think this time on the introduction to my dissertation. Then I went downstairs for a change of study location. If you're studying long days, I think it's a really good idea to try and shift your location. If that's moving from your desk to like your student kitchen or your family kitchen, or if you've got a sibling, seeing if you can swap desks for a little while. Sometimes changing your space can really help change your mindset if you're starting to lag a little bit in motivation and energy, which is kind of what was happening for me this day, but moving downstairs did help. And then a little bit later on I moved to the kitchen table, and again that just helped to sustain my motivation and keep me going. But yes, that's everything I filmed today. I hope you enjoyed, that it was able to provide a quick boost of motivation, and I hope that you have a productive week, and I will see you tomorrow.